Let's go. We got Dave Flemming coming up here in just a second. Make sure you're subscribed to the Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys podcast. Sam Lubman, Joe Shasky, bringing the best damn Giants talk in the Bay Area. Period. Every week, all season long, win or lose. Also hear exclusive interviews with players like Kyle Harrison. Subscribe today on iTunes and Spotify or wherever you like to listen to your podcast.
All right.
And now we have Dave Flemming.
I'm excited to talk to Dave.
Are you?
Him and Hunter Pence have just such a great chemistry. I just want to ask him how much of a joy it is to work with a guy like that who just brings such infectious energy. Because he came to the studio, I want to say a couple of years ago, Bonte. First of all, did not realize how large he was in person. Because when you see him on TV, he's tall. I always thought him kind of a wiry guy. Oh. He's like all muscle, man.
Well, there you go, Flim. There you go, Flim. Somebody saying nice things about you here on the Morning Roast. How about that, Flim, as you say good morning? Let's go ahead and get Flim up on the, let's get a call on. Let's get him on. Let's go. Slipping a little bit here.
It's all right.
Call in.
Oh, there it is. Now we got you, Flip. We didn't have you on.
Well,
we didn't have you on.
No, if you guys want to just keep saying nice things about me while I sit on hold, I'm good with that. That's cool.
That's just Benoni. Shasky would never.
We were saying glowing things about Mike Florio a couple weeks ago, so I wanted to make sure Dave heard the glowing reviews that I had for him on these broadcasts.
I appreciate it. You know, it's funny you bring that up about Hunter because I think I've told you guys this story before, but I'll repeat it since you've talked about how big of a duty is. When the Giants won the World Series in 2010, and then the manager gets to go manage the All-Star team in 2011, Bochy goes to do the 2011 All-Star game, and he comes back, and we're sitting in his office the first day of the second half, and kind of the natural question he always asks is, okay, how was it? And who impressed you? Because I think one of the cool things about the All-Star game is players get to size each other up in a way, and coaches and managers do it too. And I'll never forget, Bochy said, the guy I couldn't believe was Hunter Pence. He was so much bigger than I thought he was, and I want that guy. and the Giants, what was it? About exactly a year later, made the trade to bring Hunter Pence to San Francisco.
Wow. Javi Lopez, not bad either. I read it to him at the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame Monday night when Brian Sabian got his due. Real quick before we get into the team and winning 2 games in Colorado, I don't know what Colorado's plan is. At organization, it feels like they have no direction, especially after giving Chris Bryant all that big money. But Sabes finally gets his due at the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. I think people slip up and forget how well he did with the Giants. He came in right away, a couple years into it. He trades fan favorite Matt Williams, and he gets in Jeff Kitt. They bring in Darryl Hamilton and all those guys, Jose Vizcaíno. The run Sabian had is one of the more underrated runs for an executive in this market, Flip.
It's almost impossible to have success every single year. When you do that job for a long time, the competition level is just so high. And fans get frustrated. Teams don't have good years. You have a down year. Guys get hurt. You make a mistake in the draft. It's easy to just sort of say, oh my God, this guy sucks, or he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just like, I always try to emphasize how hard it is to win at the highest level in pro sports. And Brian Sabian orchestrated 2 different eras. Now, they were sandwiched on both sides by struggles. Mm-hmm. And I think some fans remember the struggles, but 2 different long stints of winning at the highest level, mm-hmm. Playoffs, pennants, going to the World Series, winning the World Series with 2 totally different groups of players. I think someday Brian Sabian, who had a big part of the Yankees dynasty too, when he was their scouting director, I think someday Brian Sabian should be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm glad he's happy and doing what he wants to do with the Yankees again. And congratulations to him.
Dr. Dave Flemming here, voice of your San Francisco Giants for NBC Sports Bay Area, R95.7 The Game Giants Insider. And Dave, obviously, there's been some struggles with this offense on the field right now. They've kind of woken up the bats a little bit, but how much is that, their approach is getting there, and how much is that it's Coors Field?
I think the approach has been good. Coors Field has not played like a wild hitter's park these last 2 days. This is not normal Coors Field. Like last night, it was a little more. The ball was carrying pretty well last night. But it's been cold and windy, and this is not summertime Coors Field. So I think most of it is the Giants have had a good couple days. Now, the Rockies' pitching isn't great, so they're taking advantage of a team that is struggling in a lot of different ways. But they deserve some credit for 2 days of better offensive performance. They got to get it figured out. They have to. I mean, the offense just has not been good enough, and it's not one guy, it's not two guys. It's a lot of players who really have underperformed, and they have to be better because this team still has the potential to be a very good team. The pitching staff, I know the pitching numbers don't look great.
Right.
The Giants pitching staff can be elite. Like, they are putting together now. So it's taken a month, but I think now everybody kind of has a sense of roles, and you have a couple guys healthier in a more comfortable role. The starting pitching's been overall excellent. Giants have a chance to win a lot of games with their pitching. They just need something from the offense. And if they can score 4 runs a game, that is not a high bar. If they can score 4 runs a game, this is going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, they got to get better, though, with the lineup, as you mentioned here, Flemming. One guy who's going to get it reset is Jorge Soler. Went on the IL with the shoulder strain. We know about the numbers, him not hitting with runners on base. He's got off to a slow start. Matt Chapman's got off to a slow start. What are you seeing here with the approaches at the play? I know Spinoni just asked you here, but we're going to see the Reds coming up, and they have a really good starting rotation right now. The Dodgers, of course, who are winning every game, right? They got the Stone kid who's throwing 7 innings yesterday against the Marlins. What is it? How simple of a fix is it for this lineup? Because you do have some guys who have career numbers that are not great, right? Matt Chapman is not a career hitter when it comes to batting average. His career numbers, what is he, a 240 hitter career-wise? But it just looks bad. He's late on the fastball. He's starting to swing early. What is the fix for this lineup? Because I'm with you. With this pitching staff, they can win a lot of games. They're going to stay in a lot of games with this pitching staff, but you got to get some good at-bats here. I don't know what's going on with this lineup, Flem.
Yeah, they need to. I mean, they got to get it figured out. This is big boy time. You know, there's no, you can't mess around anymore. You've frittered away a month, and they haven't buried themselves, but they've cost themselves a lot of games. And so they're in more of a hole than they should be based on the starting pitching they've gotten, the defense they've gotten. So they got to get it figured out soon. My guess is, and this is just purely a guess, now I'm around these guys every day, so I feel like it's an educated guess, but if you look at the chase rate for Chapman, it's much higher than his career number. If you look at the chase rate for Michael Conforto, it's higher than his career number. Jorge Soler, same thing. You have some veteran guys right now who, whether it's because they want a contract because it's an important year for their careers, or because they're in a place where they know there's big expectation and they're a big part of those expectations. And these guys they do care. This is a team that really deeply cares about being good. Whatever the reason, you have some guys who are trying to do a little too much right now. Like they are going outside of their normal hitting comfort zone, and they're chasing. And so whether it's chasing early in the count or chasing late in the count, they're just not swinging at the same pitches that they usually do. And I think if they do that, if all they do is that, just clean that up, the normal career results are going to come for those hitters. So I truly am of the belief that this is a group that is just pressing and trying too hard. Mm-hmm. And whatever it is, whether it's 1 week of good baseball, whether it's 3 days of good baseball, whether it's a little winning streak, they haven't had one. Today they have a chance for their first 3-game win streak of the year.
It's crazy.
Crazy. Whatever it is to alleviate some of that pressure, I think you're going to see the more normal production from those guys. And there have been some good signs. Like, I know Chapman's not piling up hits, but the last few days, to me, less chase, better hitters counts. He's hit the ball a little harder. Conforto definitely last night, taking more pitches out of the strike zone, swinging at the ones in the strike zone. Tyro's cleaned that up a little bit too. We'll see when Soler comes back. I think there's some decent signs there.
Talking about pressure, a guy that's not feeling any pressure, and it's kind of surprising considering he's a rookie, is Kyle Harrison. Going to Fenway and doing what he did there in that place, and it's like a pinball machine out there. You're getting hit left and right, but he calms the waters there at Fenway. And then going 7 scoreless, Dave, out in Coors Field. That's nothing to scoff at for the young rookie.
No, he's been really impressive. I just think, if you're looking for positives, he's right near the top of the list. Kyle has taken a big leap in his development. He told all of us at the start of the year, his number one goal was to pitch deeper into games, be more efficient, throw fewer pitches so he can go deeper, be easier on his defense, not be a guy who's ball one, strike one, ball two, 3-2, every single hitter. Like there were times last year it felt that way. And man, has he lived up to that? He's done exactly that. His poise, his lack of fear of the moment. Fenway Park can be intimidating if you've never been there. Coors Field, a lot of pitchers walk into Coors Field. I don't care what the record of the Rockies is. A lot of pitchers walk into this place and are defeated before they throw a pitch. They just have it in their mind that it's going to be a bad place to pitch, and they try to be too fine, and they dig themselves into a hole right away. And that was obviously not the case for Kyle. Giants fans should be excited about this young man. Yeah, some other time we could have a bigger debate, because it is interesting. Like, he's doing it. Jordan Hicks is definitely doing it. He backed off a little bit of the full bore, 100% all out stuff at all times. And he's really pitching as opposed to just trying to blow every pitch by everybody. And I bet you some of the analytics people around the game don't like that. I mean, I think a lot of people right now think the avenue to success in today's big leagues is to just get as many swings and misses as you possibly can, chase velocity, chase strikeouts. That's how you succeed. And the Giants are kind of tacking away from that in a way.
Yep.
And it's a really interesting phenomenon with a lot of guys on this staff. And I would say personally, the results so far have been very encouraging.
Yeah, 3.20 ERA for Kyle Harrison, 3-1 on the season, have a defined rookie season. He's in the early conversation for Rookie of the Year, but we have a long way to go. And Keaton Wynn, the guy we'll see on the mound today, kind of pitches to that process, as you just mentioned, Flem, where he's laying off the fastball. He's just pitching, just throwing and just pitching and getting grounders here. I'm really impressed with Keaton Wynn. But the other rookie I thought Spadoni was going to bring up is Jung Hoo Lee. This kid, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know about the power. But he is a joy to watch every single night. And last night, you see it again, the way he plays center field. How about Fenway Park and that getaway, Dave Flem, where he loses a ball in the sun, a couple batters later comes up with a big-time play. You see the passion. You see the emotion. He's really going to be a fan favorite here as the year plays out. Jung Hoo Lee, that is.
I think he is, too, and I think he's going to have a great Giants career. It's interesting. The Giants the last couple of days have tried to kind of pump him up a little bit, because we've noticed the last couple weeks, this is a guy he's used to walking up to the plate in the KBO and seeing a 350 batting average. I mean, he was the best player by far in that league. And it's hard. That what he's trying to do is really hard, and the process has been excellent. If you go pull up his StatCast page, and the colors are all shades of red. Like, all the indicators are he's having good at bats, hitting the ball the way you want to hit it, and he just has not had as much to show for that as he will over a longer period of time. Stick with what he's doing is going to work, but we've all noticed he's been a little down the last couple weeks. I mean, I think it's wearing on him to look up there and see 250, 240, 301 on base average, all the just raw numbers. And I'm encouraged that the last couple days, I think he's kind of, to me, the body language looks better again. Like, you just have to keep yourself in good spirits. It's so hard to do at this level, but he's going to be really good. I love watching this guy play, and I think the Giants got a really excellent player who, once he comes into his own here, and whether that's another couple months or the full year or whatever, I think he's going to take off.
And we've been having a conversation about what connects the city with the players, connects the team with the city or whatnot. And I think that's been the issue with the Giants over the last few years, is that we haven't been able to connect with the player because we don't know if he's going to be here for long. We do know Jung Hoo Lee is signed long-term with the Giants, and I think that's what helps the connection, because we as fans know, okay, in center field, batting leadoff is going to be Jung Hoo Lee. for a long time under Farhad Zaidi, we don't know who's hitting where. We don't know who's playing. Are we platooning today? And I think that matters, Flem, the connection. And that's what's been missing with the Giants here, the connection with the city. Having some players we know is going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, and a lot of that is just purely like the Giants. It's not like the Giants want to have a team of mix and match parts. Like, a lot of that has just been circumstance. Like, at some point, you have to have some anchor players, some star players. And obviously they made an effort to come up with some of those this offseason, and Jung Hoo Lee is probably number one among those, and he will be that. You have pitchers who are definitely that. I mean, Logan Webb is that. Kyle Harrison is turning into that. And there are others. But you're right. The best formula for a combo of winning baseball plus engagement with everybody who's coming to your park and who cares about your team is exactly that. And Jung Hoo Lee, like the hat flying off, the helmet flying, diving in the outfield, crashing into walls, running around the bases, he's just so fun to watch. He's going to be that guy.
So, Dave, we just saw the Philadelphia Phillies, best team in the National League. They are as advertised. They are legit. We're going to see the Dodgers here coming up. How big of the gap right now is it overall when you compare a team like the Giants to those top dogs in the National League?
It's less big than it appeared in Philly, which is always the case in this sport. I mean, this sport is just weird. You can't evaluate this sport the same way you evaluate football and basketball at the pro level. You can't, because players, teams run hot and cold in baseball way more than they do in those other sports. And there's just so much variance in how you're playing at certain times of the year. So I agree with you. The Phillies are really good. They're really talented. But give me a series later in the year when the Giants can take that team on where Logan Webb doesn't have a 102 fever and is sick. Keaton Wynn was shaking with almost like seizures. He had such a high fever when he was trying to pitch in the rain. When Patrick Bailey is healthy, when Jorge Soler is healthy, when Michael Conforto is swinging the bat good. If they can just go toe-to-toe, the Phillies are healthy and flying high right now. Everything's clicking for that team. The Giants are a team that they struck out 17 Phillies in that game on Sunday, which, did they come up short? Yeah, they came up short, but they showed off they've got the weapons to go after that Philadelphia lineup. And they're closer to those teams than it has looked. That doesn't mean that they don't need to play a lot better. I mean, two things can be true. The gap isn't that big, but they are not happy with the way they've played, and they shouldn't be happy.
Real quick, Dave, I got to pivot off baseball for a second because I'm getting a text from my big boss man, Matt Nahigian. Make sure you ask Flemming about the flight from Philadelphia to Colorado. A lot of people saying it was one of the worst flights and scariest flights they've ever been on. What the hell happened, Dave?
Your boy Joe Rizzo thought it was over for him, Flem.
Yeah, well, go down, as a big leaguer, I guess. I don't know. It was that whole line of storms. You were hearing about all the tornadoes in Oklahoma. I mean, we were trying to fly that day from Philly to Denver, so we went the pilot took us way down south, and then to turn back north again to come into Colorado. And when we hit that line of storms around sort of the bottom of Oklahoma or Texas, first of all, you could see it coming because out the window, the lightning strikes. I mean, I'm not kidding when I'm saying there was a lightning strike like every half second. It was just, it was like flash, 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 all as far as you could see. It was incredible, the size of that storm that we were trying to go around, but we couldn't go all the way around it, so we had to go through it a little bit. And at first there were a few bumps, and then for about a good 5 minutes, it was the bumpiest I think I've ever been on an airplane. I mean, it was massive drops and bumps and back up and turning sideways, and drinks are flying through the plane, and people were shrieking. There were screams from people on some of these bumps. I was sitting next to Darren Chan, our radio producer and engineer, and Darren, I think there still are fingerprint marks in the armrest, so that he was gripping so hard.
Don't tell me Darren did that. He's a Washington Eagle. We went to the same high school. So he was shrieking the loudest, huh?
Wash High, man. He wanted to go right back to high school. Get me off this plane. It was.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And the pilots did a great job. And, from there, it was still really windy and bumpy, but it was about 5 minutes where, every team has players who are not good flyers, and we have a few of them, and it was a little ugly for a few minutes. We survived.
Totally. No, it sounds like Oceanic Flight 815 from the show Lost when they get lost on that island. Oh man, crazy.
Fedota, your movie knowledge and television show
Pop
knowledge
culture,
is impressive.
baby.
It's very, very impressive. Flem, we'll see you when you get out to the yard. I heard you yesterday in the broadcast. You said, boy, this has been such a long trip. I forgot we were in Boston. And Hunter was like, oh, I remember, because I'm trying not to remember the Philadelphia trip. It was good stuff. Good banter between you two there on the broadcast. We'll see you when you get back home. And look, it doesn't get easy. 9 games, and you got the first 6 against the Cincinnati Reds and the L.A. Dodgers and the Reds. They got the big boys pitching in that series. But hopefully you get a win today with Keaton Wynn on the mound. He's been pitching well. You guys can end the road trip on a good note. Flem, thanks as always, man. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Talk to you next week. We might have to adjust our because I'm at the PGA Championship next week, so we might have to do a little tweaking as to when we're going to catch up next week. So I'll be home for the weekend, and then it's off for a week of golf for me.
Just know at the PGA, you don't have to worry about buying Shasky anything, okay? He's got plenty of money. He brags about his houses and everything. You're good, Flem. Don't use a credit card on Joe Shasky.
Houses, plural?
Houses. He flexes. He doesn't like what are we doing, but he does it himself. So you gotta. I'm sure you will get the invite to Russian River one day, Flem. I'm sure you will.
I'm sending him a bill for all this other stuff I got. Forget that.
Thanks, Dave.
We'll see you next week from the PGA.
That's great.
Dave Flemming here on the morning on 95.7 The Game.
PGA Championship next week at Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, Valhalla, the golf course. Last champion there 6 years ago, Brooks Koepka. Wow. May he do it again this year?